place. So I appreciate the way that this report has come to us. So I would say that we support the report and that the requests don't fit with the policy and deny the request.
Councilor Russell, you second?
I'll second it to talk to it.
Okay.
And in reading the report, nowhere do I see any suggestions that say that we should change our policy to loosen it up. So I agree with Councilor Owens.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? Councilor Boston?
I just have a question through you that maybe it's unfair to ask Brent because he hasn't been here that long, but why is there no street lights on Dalway or Main Crescent? There doesn't appear to be any at all on.
Just answering from the basis of the policy, our policy says that we use it to regulate any area where there's going to be where traffic conditions necessitate it as a means of as a safety measure.
Okay.
And when you look at Galloway in particular, there is a curve, but there are no very significant traffic features there that would warrant it as a safety. It's a low traffic. It's a low speed zone. So you know, your average driver driving at the speed limit should be able to make it navigate safely.
Okay. Councilor Owens?
This is also an issue that comes quite frequently, as Councilor Scott will likely agree, to the policing committees. A lot of questions by times, and I think the policing committees have a pretty good handle on this as well, because the requests quite often are for personal safety of personal property, as opposed to why the municipality places streetlights where they do for traffic reasons. So this isn't a new request.
Councilor Scott?
This is very much in my neighborhood. So that corner there at Dolway is actually, there's a driveway that goes up into the trees. All of these cottagers in this particular area have very heavily treed lots. That's their choice for having the trees and where they're built. And when the construction of this subdivision was put in, it was a friend of my parents, and at that point nobody wanted lights because they wanted to be able to see the stars. That was because it was their seasonal residents. They come up, they lay on their sand dune and they look at the stars, sort of thing. So it's not an area where it's not an area in the road that anybody would be driving on. Really, that there's a little sort of cul-de-sac there that's just a bunch of tall grass. So it's really not.
Doesn't meet the criteria.
No.
So the motion is that we support the report, that these do not meet the criteria and they deny the request. Any other questions? All in favor of that? Carried. Thank you. 6.8 is the tender.
Should we get a letter sent to them?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Send them a letter. Okay. This is the dust suppression. This was Brian Gilman on the line. Councilor Day. His recommendation. Second by Councilor Underwood. There's a difference there. It's a different product. The Brian is a cheaper product than the calcium. We've had good results with it last year, so we did some tests, different types. We can put the Brian on twice.
Exactly.
Two different applications in some areas, and we do keep some on hand, I believe, for spot checking. All in favor of that? That's carried. Thank you. 6.9 is the gravel tender results. It's a recommendation there as well. Councilor Cook. Second by Councilor McGuire. Any questions on that? All in favor? Carried.
Just one point, if they're going to be guarding for a cone at 531,
That's time.
Four.
That's why our cone is always just ahead of everybody. Carla was up there. 6.10, Shores Rec Center summary for information. Councilor Russell.
Receive and file with thanks.
Receive and file with thanks. Seconded. Underwood, questions to the report? Busy place. Mr. Russell?
Just, I shouldn't assume, but I'm going to agree you to perhaps there'll be another one coming for the Legacy Center probably.
So we'll make them in.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of that? Oh, sorry, question?
I'm just wondering, like, how many days, like this report here, how many days do we still have available? Like, are we going to run some other stuff, like any summer programs, or like what does this encompass as a totality of the time?
That'll be, well, we'll be coming back to council with the, with both business plan reports for the Legacy and the Shores
Okay.
on how we can, obviously in the wintertime, it's pretty well maxed out on available dates. The area that where we want to not exploit, but get better utilization in the summer period, and that's what the business plans are kind of focused to try and generate.
Do we rent hockey ice at night? Like, are we open from 12 till 6 in the morning if people wanted to rent that? Is that a possibility?
They wanted to rent, if they wanted to rent it, there's available ice time, there's a kind of a peak period, and then
Yeah.
I don't think there's much
Well,
after.
I just know in Kitchener, for example, which is,
Yeah.
I know a lot larger, but I know that some of the weenie kids are out there at 3 and 4 in the morning skating because that's when the ice time's available. So I guess what I'm wondering, and maybe it can be included in the report, is the times of when all this happens so that we can see what's left over, because, I mean, maybe we have something that could be utilized for another thing. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of that? Carried. 6.11, request for warning signs on Union Street. Councilor Underwood.
Yes, I move that this be accepted as a recommendation for the signs to go up in Union Street and Forest.
Mayor Day. Councilor Russell.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to it.
That's, please do.
Thank you. Go ahead. I was just wondering that, I support putting the sign up, and I'd really like to see the policy. So I don't know if it's a friendly amendment that sign this, but I really think that when we say in standardized policy, with respect to requesting, I think we should go for a policy. Friendly amendment.
Yes.
Create a policy or something.
Absolutely.
Councilor Elwood?
And I'll absolutely agree with that, to create a policy so that staff can move forward with it. I will speak to it though, and just to do a little sober second thought on this one. And I guess it's the same with, I have a concern that every time we get a request that we're going to, and put a sign. So we're gonna have a sign where Union, or where is it?
Union just
Yeah,
south of the Catholic Church.
And then next thing, the neighbors on the next street will say the same thing. Oh, well, we need a children at play sign. And I got looking on the internet and looking at other municipalities, and there's two ways that municipalities deal with this. Number one, they say, yes, go ahead and put up children at play signs, but it's user pay if you make a request. But then the other municipalities are saying, whoa, let's be careful here. We don't put up children at play signs, and there are several reasons. And one is that it creates that false sense of security for kids. It's on a residential street, and the residential streets are not as busy as other streets. Creates that false sense of security for kids, and that signage like this needs to be in school zones or park areas and restricted that way. And that there will be, as soon as you get signs, there'll be a proliferation of signs. So that's the other side of the story. And some municipalities have a policy say put them up anywhere, user pay whenever there's a request, and then the others are no for these reasons. And I get concerned with a lot of signs everywhere, because eventually the more signs people see, the less they respect them, they become desensitized to them, and they don't pay attention to them. That's my concern, and that's why I wouldn't support it.
Okay, Councilor Underwood?
Yes, I see what you're saying, because you can have a lot of signs, but I didn't go on the internet, I actually went there. And
I live there, so